Domingo Belen is the president of the Filipino American community of Colorado. Great to have you on KUVO.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, Domingo's a Jazz Odyssey listener too, so he's all in the music at KUVO.
I am.
Great to have you with us. We are learning about the Filipino American community and that your organization, the FACC, has been around for like 70 years. That's amazing.
We've been around for 71 years. Last year was our 70th anniversary. We had this big gala and event at the King Center, but we've been around for some time.
Now, just to understand the Filipino story, at least here in North America, is a little different, a little interesting. I think Asians generally and Pacific Islanders all get grouped in together or confused, and people don't understand the Philippines is one of the largest groups of islands in the Pacific.
That's correct. More than 100 islands. There's more than 200 different dialects that's part of the Philippines, and a lot of people move back there after spending some time here. It's just a beautiful place with great weather and just some of the nicest people you'd ever meet.
People in California, the LA area, a huge Filipino community there. Tagalog is one of the languages spoken in LA schools. But the story in Colorado is a little different. How do Filipinos arrive in Colorado?
Basically through the military, like my dad. But a one way to get out of poverty back in the Philippines. There was a call of action to have people, be the cooks or the servers of the military service. So, but at the same time, they're getting more than 30 times the money that they're ever going to make, and with also a promise of becoming a citizen by joining up with the military. So that's how they came out here to Colorado. Fort Carson, there's Lowry, there's the Air Force Base here.
Right.
And that's why they came out here to Colorado.
There is with 71 years of existence here in Colorado, the organization does a lot to sort of hold together the Filipino community through language, through health fairs. Your organization is really busy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it didn't always start out that way. We kind of looked to each other. So let's think back to 1954, segregation, and all this political angst, and just people just trying to identify with who they are. And when you get a bunch of Filipinos, you kind of know I can walk through some of the markets around here, and I can say, man, that guy's Filipino. And as soon as they say one word, like, yep, I was right, and I do the head nod. But, just having that community back then, some of that familiarity of your countrymen being in this new place, the best thing that they could do is form an organization together. So 1954, some folks thought, man, this is a great idea.
The Filipino American community of Colorado been around, like you said, since the mid-'50s, and some of the outreach includes not just scholarships and youth development, but food deliveries and advocacy, because the visibility, you get lumped in, you get assumed. People don't understand what makes us different and how we're a part of the American story.
Yeah, you look at me, and might be maybe one of a pretty good example. Like how many people would look at me and say Filipino? They're like, "Are you Samoan? Are you Hawaiian? Are you Mexican? What is this guy?" And the good part of that is I'm somebody's lost uncle, so I always get free food wherever I go. I get that head nod. I'll get like an extra burger or something or something like that. But identity is a big thing. We want to know who we are as a people, and through language, that's the way that we can kind of pass down some of the stories that we have to the next generation. So they've become really a popular class of ours. So Jonabel Imwaba, She's a teacher out there in Adams County, and she's also our teacher for our education and language classes. So the run up to our Philippine festival, she'll have like 6 or 7 classes before our Philippine festival with a bunch of students. And then when the Philippine festival comes around, they get to practice their language and they do a nice graduation. But identity is important. And I have a great story later about Filipinos, about who I am.
Uh, Domingo Belen is president of the Filipino American community of Colorado. I'm sure the kids are singing traditional songs. They're probably throwing down some rap and hip hop as well, because that's what kids do when they get a new language. They're like,
Yeah. Right, so they get to experiment, right? We have a new avenue to speak to my countrymen in another language, you know.
yeah,
Um, Tagalog is something that I know you mentioned, but there's Cebuano, there's Visayan. I'm actually Ilocano, all different dialects. Uh, and I think most of the folks at the FACC, they're from Cebu, so they speak a entirely different language. But but if you wanted to say which one is the most prevalent in the Philippine language, it's going to be Tagalog.
we're coming up on the festival. It's the Filipino Festival, and it's June 7th and 8th. Not far from Edgewater. Where's the location? on
Yeah,
Harlem?
so about 5 blocks west of Sloan's Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So city of Edgewater, great place. Shout out to the county out there, the city. They've been a great partner for the Filipino American community, but about 5 blocks west. So it's a square mile. We're located at 1900 Harlan Street, which would be where the festival would be as well.
And it's all kinds of culture, clothing, food. Talk to me about the food. What are we looking for?
Yeah. So you might get the regular like adobo, rice, pancit, and I brought out some lumpia to you guys. Hopefully, you guys had some some samples of that. But there's a lot of desserts too as well. A lot of sweet tooth. Babinka, bitso. These are mochi-based, coconut-based types of desserts, which coconut trees is something that you can certainly find in the Philippines. And I think the new flavor of the past 5-6 years that most people are interested in is ube. I don't know if you ever
Ube.
Yeah, it's kind of like a. There's not a word to describe it, but it's not vanilla
Okay.
when and it comes out purple. It's in a lot of the bobas and coffees and a lot of our desserts, but that's something that I think the people here in Colorado are starting to learn more about is ube.
June 7th and 8th, 1900 Harlan Street. And you've got a website to make all these connections for health, for clothing, for homeless outreach, for immigration, for leadership and visibility and equity and safety, all that stuff. Man, your plate is full. What's the website?
Yeah, our website is www.colorado-Filipinos with an S.org. www.colorado-Filipinos.org. You can find us there.
And that's Filipinos with an F.
Yes, Filipino with an F, right? that is correct.
In your travels, as you represent, as you go around and you tell this story, what do people misunderstand most and really need to know about the Filipino community in Colorado?
We're the best. I would say we're really family oriented. We have we have a name for like an older brother or ate or kuya, and these are terms of respect that we have for someone that's been around and who are a little bit older than us. Then we have nanas and tatas, and so we identify all of our family members by a word that we show respect, and that's something about the Filipinos that we are really family oriented. I tell folks that we are a resilient community. I tell a story about. You can probably look it up on YouTube where there's a big storm. The Philippines, it's flooded. There's kids swimming around playing basketball, and the water's up to their neck, and they're just smiling. Because they know when the water recedes, they're going to have a community that's going to help them. They'll help them rebuild and keep on going. So they might not have much, but they have a lot to give. And when I came out to your studios here, I was at our Filipino community center. I was like, man, what should I bring? What could be a good representation of us outside of our flag and food? And in the end, I thought about, it's about the people. It's about who we are as a community. That's what we can give out there and kind of show kind of a different way that we live versus those folks who grew up in the U.S. So community, family, we give until we can't give. And, we're very hospitable. We're going to invite you in. We're going to find a way to make you stay. You come in for a meeting, next thing you know, you might be dancing for our community, and that's great. And whatever you are, colors of the rainbow, whatever nationality, you're going to find those people at the Filipino American community, whether you're Filipino or Filipino at heart. We're just a welcoming organization.
Domingo Belen, president of the Filipino American Community of Colorado. The Fiesta na Naman is coming up June 7th and 8th at 1900 Harlan Street in Edgewater. The website Colorado-Filipinos with an F.org. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been great.